Hi, beautiful ladies. Welcome back to my channel. So, today I want to talk to you about the term exotical and how I noticed that some groups of women have tried to police who gets to identify as an exotical and just why this term seems to be so controversial as of late. And honestly, before starting this channel, I really didn't notice how politically charged this term was, probably because I just had no incentive to pay attention to it. But now that I'm on the other side of YouTube and I'm creating content, I've seen just in my own comment section and in other people's comment section where people will kind of be like, oh, the term exotical has kind of strayed from its original meaning. Or some women will say, oh no, that woman, she's black. Like, you don't get to recruit her over to your exotical dark side. Like, she's ours and you can't claim her. And it's like, why do you get to police who identifies as what and who gets to be labeled as what? People seem to be so charged up by darker skinned women in particular identifying as exoticals and sort of claiming that identity, because for so long it was lighter skinned women who were defined as exoticals and who pretty much were the ones who benefited exclusively from that term. But now that people are kind of realizing that the term exotical is much more nuanced than simply just being biracial or having light skin, people seem to be bothered by the fact that there are darker skinned women who are now saying, well, wait a second, actually, I fall within this definition. And so I should be able to, number one, claim it. And number two, I should be able to benefit from this the same way that you do. And when it comes down to power and the division of power, people will never like to share it, but people will also not want you to have access to it. So just wanted to kind of break that down a little bit with the two groups and kind of provide some context and hopefully encourage more darker skinned women to embrace this title if you fall within it. And again, if you're not an exotical, if you wouldn't be defined as one, it's not a big deal. Again, it's just a social construct. At the end of the day, you create your own reality. You get to represent yourself and pedestalize yourself. And if you need to create your own term to do that, then great. But at the end of the day, there are many people who do not even know what an exotical is. They'll see that and be like, what on earth is that? It's the way that you present yourself and make sure that women who look like you are represented in the media. That will really help to boost your social standing, if you will. So by definition, something that is exotic is defined as something that is strikingly, excitingly, or mysteriously different or unusual, which means that there is something about you that stands out and that is different from the rest, right? Think of like an exotic vehicle. Even above luxury vehicles like a Benz or a BMW or maybe even a Range Rover, are luxury vehicles, but they are common. So they are not considered exotic vehicles. But then when you have like an Aston Martin, that is considered an exotic vehicle. And there's even different levels within the exotic category that make a vehicle exotic because it is rare. There are materials and features within that vehicle that make it exotic. And even more so, by extension, there are a limited number of vehicles that have these features, which makes it even more rare and even more exotic. So when you talk about the context of people, if you will, you could simply be a darker skinned woman and have blue eyes. Like there's a YouTuber, I'm going to put her photo on the screen. Her name is Cindy. I can't remember her last name, but she would be considered an exotical because she has darker skin, but she has naturally blue eyes. There's probably less than 1% of people in North America alone who have that phenotype, who have that look. So she would definition be considered an exotical because she is darker skinned, but she has something that makes her unique. even Kenya Moore, like people were so up in arms by the last video that I made, and they said, "Oh, Kenya, she's just a regular pretty dark-skinned black woman." And it's true. Kenya Moore looks different from her eye color paired with her hair, paired with her body type. Like her image, her phenotype, her everything about her is different and unique. If you can name me another Kenya Moore in the comments, then maybe I'll change my mind. But as it stands, Kenya would be considered an exotic looking woman because she looks different. So I noticed that there are lighter skinned women who try to own the term exotical, because again, these women were considered exotic because their phenotype was seen as the minority by both the Black community, honestly, who pedestalizes light skin, but also by themselves as well. And it is okay to pedestalize yourself. I do preach, promoting your own image and being your own representation. But now that darker skinned exoticals are realizing and embracing their ambiguity and are learning to enhance their looks, it's almost like there are some lighter skinned women who have a problem with this because it's like, well, now I no longer have a monopoly on being an exotical. It's like now I have to share this title with even more people. And then darker skinned women who try to own it or who try to police who gets to identify as an exotical by saying, oh, if it's a darker skinned black woman, you'll hear black women say things like, oh, no, she belongs to us. She's just a beautiful black woman. You can't convert her to your exotical agenda, as if to say that you can't be black and exotic looking at the same time or simply just different. Honestly, this stems from an unconscious bias with both groups, I notice. This stems from an unconscious bias where some assume that proximity to whiteness and Eurocentric features are equated to beauty. And many people still hold this belief without even realizing it, because then they think that those who are closer to African features and phenotypes are less than and are not as beautiful, even if they have lighter skin. This is why celebrities like Zendaya, Latto, Halle Bailey, and Ice Spice are often called names and are not as respected by the Black community because of how they look. They have lighter skin, they have kinkier textured hair, they have broader noses, fuller lips, like typical Afrocentric features, but with lighter skin. But then at the same time, they would also be accused of colorism whenever these women stand up for themselves or lighter skinned women stand up for them, or whenever they seem to be doing better than a darker skinned artist in the industry in the same category. Like there was made up beef between Tyla and Arya Starr, as well as Ice Spice and another darker skinned artist. And it's like, this is beef that you guys made up. Like, you've never heard these artists come out and say anything, but you just assumed that even though, like, in any other situation, Ice Spice would be considered less than, you guys call her weird and say that she looks like she has Down syndrome. But then when it seems as if, like, she's doing better than her darker counterpart, it's, oh, no. She's just getting to benefit from having lighter skin and colorism. But then you guys will clown her for having Afrocentric features. This is also why some people try to hold down celebrities like Lupita Nyong'o by trying to remind her and other darker skinned celebrities of their blackness, as if it's some sort of shackle or curse, while the rest of the world will celebrate their beauty and their talent. So, like, for example, Lupita Nyong'o dating Jodie Turner's ex. I think that's a silly move, to be honest, but the rest of the world is coming down hard on Lupita simply because she is a darker skinned black woman dating a white man, and society still has a problem with black women dating outside their race. But they didn't have anything to say when Lupita basically had a vulnerable moment and let the whole world know that the dark skinned black man that she's apparently supposed to be with broke her heart. No one had anything to say about that aside from, oh, just choose better. But it's like, he was an actor as well. Like, he's supposed to be considered like one of the good ones. And he still couldn't do right by her, even though she's a well-established actress. She's absolutely beautiful. Everyone acknowledges her beauty and her talent. But even that was not enough to save her from getting cheated on. But then they had so much heat for her when she went over and dated a white guy. And the same thing with Serena Williams. When she was getting clowned by all those black guys, and like she tried like different shades, different hues, different professions, and they kind of just were like, oh, well, it's expected of you to kind of just wait it out and tough it out until you find a good one. But as soon as she got with a white guy who was serious about her and married her and provided a family for her, people had a lot of criticism. Like, primarily the black community had a lot of criticism about that. And that's because they think that her African phenotype is not deserving of love and stability and family. Anyway, that's a separate topic, but this is a belief that is held across races and shades in the black community and amongst lighter skinned MLM people and biracial people. But channels like this, channels like mine, and other Exotical channels are now dismantling this belief. And it's going to take a while for people to realize and accept that they hold these beliefs. So myself and other channels like the Darker Exotical and Exoticals United and the Brown Skin Exotical, we provide representation for darker skinned Exoticals. And it's kind of like a shock factor to people because it's like, whoa, this was never done before. What do you mean those darkies get to be an Exotical now? Huh? No, like there must be separation. But as I've said, like it's going to take time for people to come to terms with the fact that there is nuance even within this already nuanced community. And so until people are able to accept that there are differences, we're going to continue to see pushback, and we're going to continue to see people trying to police who gets to identify as what. The fact of the matter is, being exotic is relative to where you live. What may be considered exotic in one context may not be considered exotic in another, because that look and that phenotype is common in that area. So for example, a dark-skinned black woman in America who looks like Kenya Moore is considered exotic in North America and in the West because her phenotype and her look is rare and unique. Like, again, her hair, her facial features paired with her eye color, her body type, etc. But if you were to go to a country like Brazil, Kenya probably wouldn't look exotic to locals because there are so many other darker skinned black exoticals who look just like Kenya Moore in Brazil and other Latin American countries and other parts of the world. So it's quite disingenuous to say that someone isn't exotic or exotic looking, or that the term has strayed from the original meaning just because the image of exotical has expanded on account of people realizing their uniqueness and are now starting to embrace it. You know, the same way how I don't believe in policing who gets to identify as black is the same way that we don't get to police who identifies as an exotical, especially if they fit that definition that I mentioned before. So I'm going to continue to make content promoting women who look like me. I'm going to continue supporting other channels who support women who look like me. And it seems like the rest of the world is, the rest of the internet, I guess, is starting to support that as well, because our channels are doing well and are blowing up. So, you know, if you have a problem with that, then maybe there's some inner work that you need to do, or, you know, create your own space or go to your own space where they only believe that exoticals have lighter skin. And that goes for darker women and lighter skinned women as well. So yeah, let me know what you think about this topic. Have you noticed what I have mentioned in this topic? What do you think about it? Let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.